And of course, for over-the-top gameplay, you need some over-the-top gear. That's right, with dual gaming chipsets and a 144Hz AMOLED screen, the GT20 Pro will equip teams with up to 120 FPS, which is also the first batch of supported devices, offering esports-level performance and visually stunning experiences in the 2024 PMWC. Now, as we always do, let's check in with that plane path from all the way on that northwest side down to Milta Power. Primorsk a little bit out of the way here, but other than that, probably some fairly chilled out drop spots for a lot of team now.
Everything looking just like it should right now. Beautiful playing path for these squads. You see Alpha 7 out nice and early, heading to their North George position, and I don't see anything too out of the ordinary just yet.
No, I was looking at IWNRX as well, generally dropping out around that Ferry Pier area, not Ferry Pier, although that does sound fun.
Yes.
Ferry Pier area. God, I'm never going to be able to say that now, am I? Over that direction, but they have dropped out down towards the south side, potentially grabbing some vehicles. Maybe a little bit of room for a hot drop there, but I think they are just going to get on the road, get over to that direction, because the circle has popped. It's fairly central. It's not going to be quite as brutal, hopefully, as last time. That Central Island circle is always my least favorite finish.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a really, really, really tough one. And we were watching it in the green room back there, and Team Reject were able to pull that one out. And I think this is why this team is so scary, right? It's because when they do decide to pop off, they go crazy. I mean, an insane amount of eliminations. Now you see them right now chilling on the top of the leaderboards. And the second I saw them get this win, I just immediately said, this is looking a little bit too familiar. And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it is just a little bit reminiscent. There are echoes from earlier at the start of this year from Brazil, where they were able to claim a global title for Japan. They will be pleased with that performance, certainly, but doing it again here, the fact that it's on the cards now is kind of wild. And Alpha 7, this is where their mental starts to break.
Oh, let's see if Alpha 7 can hold on and be able to pull off that big win that we want to see them do. I know Brazil has been waiting for this moment for so long, and they're looking pretty poised to do it. I can hear those Power Esports fans in the crowd
certainly
starting to make some noise because, you know, this is a good opportunity for them here. It's about that time they really kind of make something happen. They need a chicken dinner right here, right now. They have 29 points on the board. Remember, this is that halfway point. So a good chicken dinner could get them finally in that running, because, you know, all these teams want to be able to hold up that trophy and be the PUBG Mobile World Cup champions.
Oh, of course you do. Of course you do. Not only that, getting that direct qualification spot. Do you remember earlier today when James Yang had his speech, they were talking about that top spot from this tournament, getting that qualification spot to PMGC. So not only would you get the lion's share of the prize pool, you also get the honor of playing back in my hometown, London.
Oh, that's going to be so fun. That's going to be so fun. That announcement. Every time I see James Yang on the stage, I get excited because I know I'm going to hear something good.
We're on board right now with TJB. They're up in Severny, pretty early out of the plane, which means that they can start to get on the road, get towards their first point rotations and get further forwards. It looks like they're just out split gathering those vehicles now, trying to grab one buggy or two, maybe a UAS, see what they opt for later on from the northern side of the circle. They're going to have to probably cross around the river. A couple of options for them to do that, so we'll see where they decide to go. North George, currently guarded out a little bit by Alolex IHC on the south side of this settlement, but Alpha 7, again, plenty of options to try and move across that river position, get to a central area.
Right now, we can just see everybody's just fighting for those central positions. We do have some squads that are just out looting very, very safely. Alpha 7 are going to take their sweet time like they normally do. TJB are up in Severny right now. And you can see Alpha 7 right there. 3 average eliminations a game. That's almost an entire squad wipe every single time. But I think the big difference between Alpha 7 and Reject is Reject have shown that when they do get like a decent zone opportunity, they fully utilize it, right? They take an insane amount of elimination. So it just shows that their ceiling, I think, is just a little bit higher. Alpha 7 can really show that consistency, but we need to see that crazy 20 elimination game from them.
Yeah, they do need to put something up today. I mean, they have had some decent games today,
for sure,
but it hasn't been special, I think, is what we're trying to say here. And that is what you need to be a champion, to be in that #1 spot.
That's right.
To beat Reject back from their ascension.
Speaking of ascension, Boom Esports, man, they had one heck of an ascension as well. I mean, they were right there on that cusp. We saw them, you know, get all the way up top for a couple of moments and then right down to 5th place just like that. This leaderboard is going to get so volatile here as time goes on.
Yeah, there's only 12 points between that 5th place and 1st place right now. Nobody is over that 10-point average per match level at this stage. With 9 matches played, we're in our 10th match now. 80 is the maximum, obviously, at that top spot, which puts you a little bit below. I'm not entirely sure on the exact numbers, but it's around 9.1, somewhere like that average across these maps. And it is going to be real tough to be able to push away from this pack, because everybody is going to bite in at your heels. The fact that Reject have opened an 8-point gap is a little bit novel, right? For the top of these tables, it's been within a couple of points for a while now. So this is their conversion game. This is where, for Reject, they can make their mark on this tournament and really throw the gauntlet down for Alpha 7. And on the flip side, it's a chance for the other teams to shut that down.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good one for them here. I mean, they do land in Rosshawk, so they're pretty central to the circle. They haven't had to have any kind of crazy rotations at all. They know this area very well. I mean, the zone could still head in that direction. So let's see how that ends up. Right now, honestly, I think the biggest surprise of this tournament so far for me, it's got to be 4MV, right? 4MV all the way down in 12th place is pretty wild. You see them over there right now. They're currently chilling in down south at Military Base. They're going to start making that cross up the road here soon. But man, I think that they have really just surprised all of our expectations here. What do you think, John?
I think that a lot of people would have put 4MV pretty high in their estimations. But you know what? Not us. I don't know if you caught me, Blank and Jackie having a chat.
That's right.
Jackie led the charge, putting 4MV down way low on those tables. Turns out he was right. Not only that, he predicted Reject to win.
Wow.
Jackie's enormous, huge brain has delivered.
It's crushing it so far. I mean, Team Reject had those couple pop-off games, and that just rocket launched them up the leaderboards here. So let's see if they can just kind of continue to hold on. We're now at that halfway point. Anything could still happen. We could still even see maybe even a team like Alliance start, you know, making their headway up here soon, but they got to start doing it right now. The final day is just going to be pure chaos. So I think these next 3 matches are just more critical than ever.
Definitely. Every single match counts with an 18-match set. It is really dangerous to let it start to slip now. From first to last, that gap is pretty gaping right now. 80 points to 24, sits at 56 points difference, Hot Jukes. That is quite a big chunk to be able to catch up over these next matches. Oh my goodness.
Hardship!
That is the hardest shift down to the southwest side. Keeps a lot of the river crossing, that main sort of gap between the main island and Sosnovka military base in, which puts playable terrain, because likely not going to go to that military base unless we get another one of these circles. The playable terrain sits at about 65–75%, somewhere in that sort of gap for this coming circle. So into stage 2, we may accelerate the pressure on these teams to about a stage 3 or 4.
We're going to definitely see some teams get knocked out here just on rotation, because there are so many squads off the east side of this circle that are going to have to make it on in here. You can see Xavier trying to hold off some teams, going to make some pop shots over by Team Liquid. Team Liquid driving right next to Tianba. And they're going to get away from this one for now. But they better watch up, because you got Alliance set up. I mean, everybody is set up on this side. And you can just see Alliance starting to put a little bit of punishment onto Tianba. They're actually going to take 1 elimination right then and there.
They are going to be able to pick up point early, right off the bat. That gap now sits at 55 points between the top spot and Alliance down on the bottom. But you've got to start somewhere. And this is where they will try and have it on. Alpha 7 taking shots towards Team Liquid. So is everybody else, apparently, in this lobby. They are absolutely punishing this rotation from the team on Brazil.
Yeah, team, you can see Mythic just down and out right here. That nade's going to finish him off. So Twisted Minds is going to be out of this one. Well, actually, no. Twisted Minds on that one did get a nice couple knocks there onto Team Liquid. That's what I meant. So Team Liquid down to 2 players. You can see 4MV popping some shots now. And Tony K getting knocked. Oh, but nice shots from the back line do even things out.
Everybody trying to push into these priority positions now. Apex trying to crawl away. 4MV, they tried to get off of that military island. And they have been shunting on the east side. Vampire, their major task, stoned down. Doc on this high ground here has great oversight, but it's also incredibly dangerous to keep this one held. If you get spotted, there's plenty of teams around that will be only too happy to send a bullet right between your eyes.
Yeah, Doc's not trying to move a muscle at all. He's trying to play it very, very safe right now. And you can just see Schweppes gets a nice little vehicle blow up. So Vampire looking to get a little bit of revenge for Tony K. We like to see that there. But when is Doc going to make that move? The last player up for 4MV again. They lose pretty much everybody so early on. And it's just going to show that this military drop location is just not working out for them.
Doc still up. Still trying to make something happen.
And he's gone.
And he's down. Vampire, bring him back down to earth. Come on now. Let's not be silly. He will not play any further. And again, 4MV's fall from grace continues. Circle centers up. This time it's not quite as dramatic. It's had the attention it needs from that first shift. We are going dead center onto the main pack of teams. So I'm looking out to the west. Talon, Outlaw XIHC. You can see at the moment Talon starting to bleed from a player going down on the outskirts. I'm also looking at Boom on the northeast side, across the other end of the map. But we're looking right now at Talon trying to regain some sort of strength as the ult does go down, and it looks like he's going to get flushed too.
Talon, you can see Axel holding the angle right now. This is in the blue zone. This is a tough fight for both of these teams, actually. But IFC, I think they realized that they got a little lucky with this particular zone shift, so they're just happy to kind of stay back, take some of these points, and then try to move up from there. And I'm not sure if that was the right strategy. I think they could have took a little bit more advantage of that hard shift and tried to find a more central position. Instead, they're just taking their sweet time in this fight and hoping to try and get lucky with a couple of eliminations. But they've already lost Seoul. Is he going to get the run over? Oh, that was actually pretty close.
He is fine. I think he's going to go around for another attempt there, but the smoke's just about keeping cover for Talon. And that was, nope, okay, it wasn't the last attempt. They want to do a little bit more. Yoru, though, his smokes are starting to fade. Only the one to play around in now. Are they going to go back in? No.
No, that's surprising.
So. Hang on a minute. Is there a turnaround further out? They still got Demo out there on the off angle. Could potentially be a little bit different, but maybe they think they've cleared it. Maybe they think they've gotten rid of Talon.
Oh, I'm not too sure. I think they just wasted a lot of time there, and these are critical moments, especially for them. Let's take a look at a quick little replay. See Schweppes get that nice thirst. And, man, yeah, they punish 4MV on their rotation so bad. Schweppes, I think, almost took out the whole squad by himself. That's pretty crazy. Leon, going to be moving on up. He does watch his teammate Cluck go down. This nade does look good.
Oh, no way!
Perfect bounce.
How on earth did he manage to get that bounce? Leon, a miracle with a grenade there. Able to, I think he bounced it off the windowsill of the other window.
I mean, we're talking like threading the needle there.
To be able to get it through the first window.
That's right.
Crazy, right? I mean, teams at this level should be able to do it. But to be able to bounce it off that windowsill and get it through, it's to the level where I don't think he meant to do that.
Well, I don't think so either, and it's kind of crazy because I guarantee you if I would have thrown that nade in that window and that player stayed in there and it went outside, I would be fuming.
Oh, man. That is crazy.
That's wild.
That is wild. That's probably the most fun I've had watching a nade go.
What a crazy bounce. Next zone, is this zone going to bounce, though? That's the question.
True.
Where is it going to go? We're going to get another crazy hard shift, or will it center up? Centers right on up. Alpha 7 had a good feeling it was going to go right here, and it ends up paying off for them. Yeah. Team Reject is still up, and if you're Alpha 7, you got to find a way to try to take them out early if you can.
I'm looking at who's going to be able to take control of the hill to the north of Alpha 7, because that is a priority position, but there's a lot of teams that are going to stop you from getting in there right now. Reject, they're nowhere near it. They're going to be playing all the way out on that southwest side. They are leading this train towards the center with Reiji at the front, at the helm of this ship, pushing their way through. They are covering their flanks. They are moving like water. And nobody's able to stop the crash. Tiamba trying to hold off a crash of their own as Alliance try and make their way in. But Shan doesn't take a lick of damage at all on the eastern side. Now has a little bit more to deal with, however. In the meantime, more of Alliance are going to try their luck, but they're too far away to get anything done. Shan does have to go for a little bit of healing, but Olio can't quite find the shots.
Those are some really nice vehicle shenanigans. Popping on off, popping in the vehicle, switching seats, and then popping out. I almost caught him slipping there, but he did not. So Talon Esports are down to 2. They're currently sitting in 6th place. Going to be holding that Pachinki hillside for now. Not a bad position to be in for the zone. As we're going to also watch, oh, look at that. Guizhou take down Ayala with the DP from downtown.
Ooh, Reject losing a player on that south. It's not ideal. They're going to have a difficult approach to that compound that Alpha 7 currently sits in. Gonna have to push up and play the ridge, play the terrain. Tiamba, in the meantime, losing players to DX Xavier, holding out on this eastern side. And again, nobody has gone super central right now. Alpha 7 still sit in the shadow of that high ground. And nobody's made the bid for it yet. Power, DRX, Boom. All these teams are primed and ready to go for it, but each of them in turn stopping the others from making that move.
Alliance fall down, the team in last place. Can't get it going here in the PMWC. Hopefully they can turn things around in the next couple of matches because they desperately need to, that's for sure. Team Reject get another elimination on the board. That's 3 total. So far in this lobby, Tiamba have the most with 4, but they're down to 1 person. Vampire, Tony K got knocked a little earlier, but was able to get revived. Uh-oh, but Guizhou getting stiff-armed and instantly thirsted there by Duelo.
Another knock in the distance. You can see that's another point that's just waiting to go to the Reject coffers. As Duelo has the cover on it. Not really too sure that they're going to go for this res either. It would be pretty dangerous. I think pretty foolish as well. There's that flush going through. Duelo does manage to make it work. Hopping over to Vampire in the meantime on the east side. They're scrapping on the north with DX Xavier and on the south with IWNRX. This is a difficult pinch that they're in, but they're surviving it with 3. Tony K is down. They should be able to get this res. DX Xavier allowed to do the same in the meantime, and everybody's going to have to push further west. The next circle, not too long now for popping.
Let's see where it decides to go, folks. Will Alpha 7 stay in the center of it? But they got to watch out because Team Reject are just seem to be in that flow state right now. 5 eliminations so far, 3 players up. If the zone goes north, they're going to be in trouble, though. Let's see where it decides to go, and it does head a little bit further north for them, so they're going to have to start the push. Meanwhile, Vampire getting into it with DX Xavier and end up taking them out. Boom Esports trying to run away. Pombit, though, that tire getting blown out. Forces him out. Ooh, but the shimmies. He survives for a little bit longer.
And through all of this, I think the smartest decision that's been made is DRX. They've made their decision not to go for a third party on the back. They are moving into that high ground that I was talking about, north of the Alpha 7 compound, and they are just being a wall. Boom now trying to flow away as Razy is the last to stand with their scrap. They're pushed off a Vampire by IWNRX further south, and throughout all of this, like I say, DRX are making that bid for the high ground. Can they hold it off against Power, who is the major threat to their position?
Let's see what they decide to do. They do hold that for now. Razy, though, seem to have a similar idea from Boom. Let's see if they end up getting into engagement. Meanwhile, oh, GK First is stuck wide out in the open. Couple shots, and he is toast. Are they going to try to pick him up? You can just see they were thinking about risking it, but no, yeah, that's going to be it.
In the smoke, difficult to get this cover, to get that res, like you say, way out in the open for GK First, and going down there is the death sentence in a circle like this. Razy still right on top of this mountain, but does not have the teammates to back him up. So as it's only a matter of time before that push goes through. Vampire trying to make their move on the eastern side as we get a little replay onto Boom rolling down the northern edge of DX Xavier. This is what dictated a lot of the pace of the fight out on this eastern side, and it's where Boom were able to get those 3 elimination points. DRX, they take a knock.
DRX takes a knock, and Team Reject are on the move. Look at hunt down even more eliminations.
Whoa.
Divine with 3 on his own, 6 in total. They end up finding this hill, and they're going to be in a good position as he gets the run over. Everything is going right for Team Reject here.
That is the slowest rollover I think I've ever seen in that buggy. But either way, it's going to work.
You gave him a fair warning.
That's true. He was like, look, I want this ditch. You're in it. It's nothing personal. But you're going splat. That
right.
is exactly what Reject were able to do. DRX taking the knock slowed them down, meaning they couldn't push in. I'm surprised that IWNRX weren't there early enough. TJB, they've been shimming up this roadside for a while, and they've just found power. That is not what you want to uncover. Fidan goes down to the back lines, but TJB is slowed, and Long's now waiting for that res. Lauer wants to heal himself up first, and only S as well, backing off just a little bit.
Power throwing exactly 57 grenades in that one moment right there. Unfortunately, not able to open it up the way they wanted to. This position is pretty solid here. The only weak side is TJB. Let's see if Alhaji's able to go ahead and get a good jumping nade, because most of those were just barely short. Oh, he should have range now. Let's see. Alhaji for 3.
Looks for good.
Oh, that hurts.
Looks for the good shot, but it's not going to dunk down this time around. Flower able to weather the storm, and that's another nade over onto Reject, bringing them down to just Duello. Alpha 7 starting to flex out now from their compound on the south, with Magrelin and Carrillo are going to try and push up towards the top of the mountain, but Duello's not going to give it up without a fight. A south shift as well.
Duello, the last player up for Team Reject, but they've already got 8 eliminations. These guys are putting such consistent points on the board. If Alpha 7 want to be our first PUBG Mobile World Cup champions here at the Esports World Cup, they need to start fragging out now. 3 eliminations isn't gonna be enough. They have a solid position, but they're gonna need that chicken dinner at double-digit limbs to go with it.
Vampire down with 6 limbs on the east side. IWNRX, it felt like they were slow, a little bit sluggish on that east edge to try and push their way in. They could have had a better ascent, but they're still playing on with 2. TJB still locking horns with power, and Kante able to sliver away another knock. But it doesn't go his way for long as 2 players now stand for power.
Let's see what Power could do. The hometown heroes, you can hear the crowd cheering them on. It's definitely making some noise here as Frozen goes down. Power desperately need a win here to help bounce them back as DRX are knocked out.
A nade trade goes south for DRX. They are not up on that one. Another nade though towards Power, and that's another flush, another knock, and TJB continues to shut out the hometown heroes. This is crazy. Kansei trying to get this res, and they're going to have to push in from the north side. Alpha 7 still as 4, only 3 limbs, but not too many teams now can stand in their way. There is really not that much power left in the lobby.
TJB were holding that position for so long. Flower decides to go across the road and hold this very, very small dip, and he is outside of the circle. So he's gonna have to make some magic happen with that buggy there the next few moments. Duello still alive for Team Reject, and he is now in the points placement. 6 teams are remaining. He will get a couple of placement points. But how many are Team Alpha 7 gonna get? Oh, here goes Power! Looking to get their revenge on the TJB. They get 1.
You can't let that happen. The roll-up was in the sidelines of 2 TJB players, and they don't let it happen fully, but they lose a player again. Down to 1 now. 4 players alive for Alpha 7. A low elimination count chicken dinner is certainly looking to be in their future. When I gaze into my crystal ball, that is what I see, but that is not going to be enough, I don't think, to chase down Reject if they're able to get 5 more eliminations, i.e. sweep the entirety of the rest of these eliminations and the chicken dinner, then they can catch Reject. But as it stands, that's going to be a difficult task. With Talon and TJB on the north side, with IWNRX, with sightlines onto Longs, it is going to be hard to pull all of those eliminations out the hat.
Yeah, you can already start seeing a difference between Team Reject and Alpha 7's playstyle, right? Alpha 7 have seemed to err on the side of safety here, right? Just holding their position. It's a dominant one, right? But they're not going out and hunting down eliminations. And honestly, I think that's where their strong suit is, especially with a zone like this. They should know that they have the numbers, right? Go out and clean up these elims, but instead, they're like, no, let's just play safe, get a guaranteed chicken dinner, and go from there. But look at this. Every single time we see a player go down, that gap between them and Reject will still stay larger as time goes on.
Absolutely. The hillside to their north still sits as an ominous presence on this Alpha 7 hold, though. And with 4 players still alive against them, it's possible that things could go a little bit topsy-turvy, as has been the theme of this tournament all the way through. And for Alpha 7, they're on the south side of the road. They're going to have to cross it. Look at where the circle sits. They can stay here for just a little bit longer. But IWNRX have that high ground. Talon as well cover that western flank if they want to try and roll around. It's a difficult exit for Alpha 7, unless they can find some picks.
I think Alpha 7, I think, win this game 100% of the time here. I mean, they have such a dominant position. I think the only way they lose this is if Talon and IWNRX kind of have an understanding of where things lie. If they decide to be like, hey, guys, we got to take out Alpha 7 first, and then we'll fight each other afterwards for the 1-2 finish. But if that doesn't end up happening, then Alpha 7 are going to win this game. But again, it's going to be with very, very low eliminations. And that just goes to show you, like, just how powerful that elimination count is, because Team Reject, when they get an opportunity like this, I guarantee you, if this was Team Reject right here, they would have already been out of these buildings hunting down everybody.
Yeah, Yoru would not be allowed to sit where he sat right now.
It's kind of surprising, because this is a different Alpha 7 coming into this tournament.
It has been a little bit up and down. We have seen some misplaced footsteps from them so far today. Let's see if this is another one, or if this reserved play style is going to be a boon to them in the long run. They are still just keeping it calm. This circle, whilst they are going to likely have to cross the road, they don't have to leave it yet, and this rooftop affords them so much of an overlook.
Yeah, I think what's happening is the only thing that I could possibly even imagine is if maybe Alpha 7 didn't really have a good idea of the elimination count, and they're thinking that they're in a pure 4v4 here. You know, if they're thinking they're in a pure 4v4, they're just like, all right, let's just wait it out, see where the zone goes, and then play it from there. But little do they realize it's a 4v2v2, and IWNRX is starting to get mighty close to Talon. Axel's got that nade, locked and loaded. That's a good bounce. Right in between both of them. Oh, that hurt.
Oh, not quite going to get either of them, but another one to follow it up. That's a little bit short as well. Kynes goes wide. Axel there, stepping up with a pin pulled, and Kynes breaks out wide with the jump shot. Looks for the spray, but the challenge is no good. Now IWNRX going to lose one, and Axel left his team now in a 2 versus 1. Alpha 7 immediately send out of this compound, straight over the hillside. They know it's not a full force squad now, and Carrillo will have McGrellin at his back. The spray downs can come through. They full force move up to this northern side. Over the hillsides they roll. Frozen's not going down just yet, but the vehicle over 1, over 2, and Alpha 7, they're rolling on away like it ain't no thing. In the rear view mirror, they see the chicken dinner.
What a run over there. And I think that's what they were thinking, because the second they noticed that, oh, this isn't a 4v4, let's get out there and let's take this chicken